office, but I'm here from the corner. Thank you for recording. I'm here from the corner of 3rd and Walnut, and it is a gloriously sunny day. Chilly, about 30 degrees, but out over the lake, it is just beautiful to look out and see such a clear sky. And I'm glad to see so many lakesiders. That's one of the things that is a challenge working here year round, being on site, is that you don't see people. And there's about 125 hardy souls that live here year round, and we're blessed that they are here and blessed to see them. But to see so many different faces of folks that I've come to know over the years has been wonderful. Before I start sharing my screen, which will kick off the presentation for our Hoover Bandstand shows of the season, I wanted to remind folks that there's opportunities to be a part of programming in the late spring here. Coming up in about 6 weeks, we have the solar eclipse. I'm sure you've heard a little something about that. Of programming between April 6th and 8th, culminating with the grand eclipse on April 8th in the late afternoon. We're praying for sunny skies so that it is a spectacular eclipse. And then the first week of May, we have the birding week. It's, I think it's the greatest week in American birding. There's a long name for it. But because we're on the migratory path, especially for the warblers, it is just an amazing time to be here in this part of Ohio. And John Mann has put together a great program of lectures, movies, and various other things happening throughout that week. And then, of course, Orchestra Hall will open with some movies in mid to late May. We're still working on some questions on availability of parts for the projector, so keep your fingers crossed that we are getting all the pieces and parts in time for that. But that'll be a wonderful improvement in that particular venue. So, Phil, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's get started. Today's program is to share some highlights of arts and entertainment programming. Well, we'll kick off, obviously, on Memorial Day weekend. And this year, and it's always fun to put the season together. This year, working with the team, we determined that Neil Berg has been here twice to do his Broadway show. So why don't we look at another program that he does? And in this case, the 50 Years of Rock and Roll. So he will come in with in addition to his Broadway singers and his amazing piano playing, he'll bring in a rock band, and that will be a fun cruise down memory lane with Neil Berg. He has an amazing insight into music and history, and really has been a lot of fun for me to get to know over the years. That Sunday, Honey and Blue will be down on the pavilion during the cookout, 12 to 3, praying for good weather so that we can all gather together as friends and come back and appreciate all Lakeside has to offer. That weekend will also kick off in the Hoover lobby the Great Lakes Maritime Arts exhibit, which will feature historic images of Lake Erie and shipbuilding and ships cruising along the lake and things like that. So the Great Lakes Museum has been fortunate, or we've been fortunate to work with them, put together that. And then this year, the parade will be held in Marblehead. So I know often our board and Charles will be a part of that parade. That'll be down in downtown Marblehead. Moving on to the next weekend, and this is kind of, for me, a neat way to kick off the season with classic rock music. So Long Time Gone is the music of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They were here with us last year. No, they were the one bumped for the flood. That's right. When we had Hoover flooded, Long Time Gone was on that night, and we had to cancel them. So we rescheduled them to kick off this week on May 31st, that Friday, and round that weekend out with a performance, a tribute to Aretha Franklin, Portrait of a Queen. And as I look at CeCe Tennille, she's one of these great performers with amazing energy. And when I saw her showcase at a conference last year, I think Charles was there too. We were both wowed by her talent, but mainly her stage presence in addition. June 1st will also be called Ottawa County Day. And in the past, you may know that we made a day when we wanted to make sure our guests here on the peninsula, our friends and neighbors, knew that they could come in and experience Lakeside. We staged this early enough in the season to hopefully draw some new friends in so they can feel a little bit of the Lakeside love and maybe come back and join us, if not for the whole season, select events throughout the season. June 3rd, I don't have a slide for it, but on June 3rd, our education program kicks off our education department kicks off a program that is both arts and entertainment. You may recall last year and the year before, John Mann put together a series of historic portrayals. And so June 3rd would be the first. It's at 7:30, and it's Calamity Jane as part of our Wild West week. And then throughout June, and then in August, we'll have some Monday night historic portrayals, everyone from First Lady Florence Harding to a character from World War II from the Women's Air Corps, and a series, I think Julia Child's in the series. I absolutely love that series, and so I'm glad that John is continuing that. Moving on then to the weekend of June 7th and 8th, both the Drowsy Lads and the OSU Alumni Band are two of Lakeside favorites. And to bring them back on that same weekend, we thought it would be like a coming home weekend and enjoy what Ohio has to offer. Drowsy Lads have become so popular. If I don't book them very like in July or August, I don't have a Friday or a Saturday for them. I'm so thrilled to watch Phil and this young band of friends he has really mentored in this music of the Celtic Irish tradition. If you haven't seen them, they know how to get the crowd involved and energized. And I guess I could say the same about OSU Alumni Band. It is, I won't say a cult following because that's not a very nice word, but it is definitely folks that are into OSU and into great band music. And they come in and really, I said there's so much energy in Hoover that the rafters get dusted because it's just vibrating in there. So it's a fun night for us. And rounding out that weekend, there'll be a gospel music concert led by Michael Schertz on Sunday night at 7 in Hoover. So instead of the bandstand concert that weekend, we'll have Michael Schertz that morning for worship. He'll have in a gospel group, and then they will stay and do a concert for us that evening. Moving on then to mid-June, a slide that's not up is a keynote. And I had a wonderful opportunity to meet Kara Rauda by Zoom. Kara is a nationally known author who set a book in Lakeside called Best Day Ever. And she's releasing the sequel to that this year. So she'll be part of John's series. But again, that shared arts and education pillar, that'll be June 13th. On June 14th, Jukebox Saturday Night is the music of the big bands, the Glenn Miller era, which always sells very well and does very well for us in Hoover. For me, it's a step back in time because I can imagine when those bands came through during their era of the big band. And to see them back in Hoover, for me, is a very nostalgic feeling. On Saturday that weekend, Michael Cavanaugh. Michael was with us at Labor Day of last year doing his Billy Joel show. This year, we asked him to do a little fuller show of more of the rock and roll era. He's got Elton John down, Billy Joel down, and a wide variety of other artists. And so it'll be kind of his view on some of his favorite artists. June 15th is also Military Appreciation Day and the Collector Car Show Day. And so what we've done is between 1 and 7, we've set up music on the pavilion, the collector cars that Bill Shannon organizes for me, and then move into Hoover at 7:30 for the Michael Cavanaugh. On Military Appreciation Day, anyone that is active or retired military, it's free to enter. And retired military receive one additional pass for a guest to come, but all active military can come with their entire family. And so we look forward to thanking them for their service and having them be a part of our community. The following weekend, we will open the art show, the annual Lakeside Art Show in Hoover Lobby on Thursday at 6:30, and then roll into the weekend with the packed drum line. I don't know if anyone has had the opportunity to see the current version of America's Got Talent. It's called the Fantasy League, where each judge could have picked their favorite acts from the past to come back and be mentored by the judge and then be in a competition together. Well, I'm so pleased and tickled that packed drumline is in the finals. And tomorrow night, I don't know if you're a fan of AGT, but if you are, tomorrow night is the finals. And so I would encourage you to hop on to NBC. I think it's at 8 or 9 o'clock to see how that competition ends. I really want them to do well and win, but I also don't want them to say, oh, by the way, we have a better opportunity for June 21st. So keep your fingers crossed, say a prayer that they want to be a part of our season for sure. If you haven't seen them, they're a kind of a combination of percussion, a little bit of acrobatic movement, and a lot of dance. They started as an after-school program in Chicago, and I am just so pleased to watch these men, how they've progressed, and the national exposure they've had for this great model. So that'll be Friday night. On Saturday night, Newsboys comes. It's the first time they've been here. It's a Christian band now. They've toured internationally from back in the 90s. Their biggest claim to fame, I guess, would be the hit God's Not Dead, which then kind of launched a film franchise with a movie of the same name. Some of their other hits are We Believe, Magnetic, Born Again. Those are the ones I'm most familiar with. I'm sure you may have others. And they'll bring an opener with them this year, Jordan Jansen, who's a young singer. And I love that these Christian bands bring along and mentor future Christian artists. So it's great to see, and we're always thrilled to have these bands. On Sunday of that weekend, Echo Valley comes back. They're a lovely family in bluegrass, Americana. I just love their youth, their energy, and feel that they're a perfect fit for a lakeside outdoor concert. The end of June leads us into a packed week of entertainment. So we kick off Tuesday of that week on the 25th with a silent movie with Clark Wilson, which are always so well attended and well supported. And the Stevens family has been very gracious in helping us present those events. On Wednesday, it's the first of our family programs, Chipper Lowell. And then on Thursday, a new favorite of mine, Sean of the South. Sean Dietrich is a author, he calls himself a stand-up storyteller. And he also has a podcast. Basically, he writes these essays, posts them online, kind of his reflections on growing up in the South. He grew up in Missouri, and he just has these wonderful insights and just the creative way he writes about them. He's a great writer. On top of that, he's a great musician. So this is something we're calling a keynote concert. So we're combining some message as well as some great music. I'm pleased for him that he has recently performed on the Grand Ole Opry stage. He had 2 shows scheduled that sold out within an hour. And his popularity, mainly being online in the podcast and his essays and daily posting, really have created this amazing following for him. We're hoping some of those folks come find him at Lakeside because he doesn't perform that much live. A neat opportunity is that his mentor is Bobby Horton, which is how I met Sean. And you may know Bobby Horton from past years. He was often here during our Civil War weeks. He was also here last year just to do his music of that era. And so Bobby will be Sean's special guest. Last year, Sean was Bobby's special guest. Sean was in Orchestra Hall actually for an education session. I'd forgotten that. And so we'll give Sean the stage and talk about this humble, kind, generous man. And I think Bobby Horton's energy has rubbed off well on Sean. The two are not family, but they feel like they have a family energy. Just the French Family Band, another family, great energy. You may have seen them last year when Camille French came out and opened the show with Anne Murray's Snowbird. It was just amazing. We had a little bit of trouble with the sound, and so I'm expecting that will not be the problem this year, and they'll come and have an amazing time with us. They're tickled to come back, planning to stay a couple of days, so you may see them out in the community. And then that weekend wraps up with a new artist to me. Several people recommended Ray Lynn. She's pretty hot on the country music scene right now, nominated for the American Country Music Awards, things like that. So kind of our foray into country music. We've tried to do a lot more of that over the years. Lone Star was a big success last year, and we've had different bands in. And so I don't know where Ray Lynn will be coming from. She's out touring nationally, and we'll be stopping through on her tour, summer tour. So July, as you can imagine, is a busy season of programming. We kick off Wednesday the 3rd with a family act called Playing by Ear. Thursday, July 4th, we'll have street players. We're a wonderful addition to our outdoor programming this year, referred by some lakeside friends. So that'll be happening during the picnic on July 4th. Parade and fireworks, of course, we'll have a full schedule that day. On Friday, it's Hotel California, and the music of the Eagles. This is one of, for a long time, I didn't want to do the tribute acts. It really felt to me, maybe they were just cover bands coming in. Well, the tribute act has come a long way since. Hotel California was one of the ones we brought in very early on, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And they come back with a full show. What's interesting is Hotel California is the one that is most sanctioned by the Eagles themselves. And occasionally the band will be a part of tours and things that they're doing. So that gives them some accreditation in my mind, at least. That's Saturday, July 6th. America's Favorite Cowboys, the Riders in the Sky, come back. You may know them from the music of Toy Story, but it's a great, fun family event, and I thought would be perfect as we fill out that July 4th weekend programming. And then Sunday, the infamous, famous Shirley Polka Band comes back to the bandstand. They did a Christmas show for us, and it was just so well received. They are just bringing new generations of folks into polka music, and that's part of my heritage, so it's great to see happening. Moving into the next week, the Lakeside Talent Show will be Wednesday, July 10th. Karis Fox organized that for us last year, and she'll be back to do it this year, so we're looking forward to another full slate. I was telling somebody about the talent show, and I said, it's everything from an amazingly accomplished young classical pianist to a young kid doing belly rolls or at the Rubik's Cube on stage. So it really is a little bit a slice of Lakeside life, and really been great fun to see who enters that competition. On Thursday night of that week, July 11th, Alexander Starr and the Golden People come to Lakeside. This is another of our keynote concert series. Alexander Starr is known as an impact artist. He writes music that is energizing, inspiring, affirming, music with a message. And so as part of his concert, he will add a small keynote, share some positive message on things that relate to his music. He's Grammy or Emmy nominated for a jingle he did, I believe, for a commercial for United Way down in the Florida area. So some of our Florida folks may have seen him on video there. But he does workshops. He'll do a workshop during the day with us, young songwriters, really trying to work on putting words to their emotion, and he puts together some amazing things. But when I met him at conference, he was just an inspiring young man, and I think a great fit. He does so much outreach in the Southern Florida area that I think his mission really aligns well with ours. On Friday of that week, it's Next Generation Leahy. I typed in the wrong word, Next Great Leahy. It's Next Generation Leahy. They are children of Doug Leahy. So you may remember when we had the Leahy family, I'll call them the Leahy originals, which were probably closer to my age or in their 50s. And so these are the one family of that group of Leahys, their children, and they have grown so much. The first time we brought them here, I think the children that you're seeing in the slide there, the youngest was maybe 5. And so this has probably put a good 6 or 7 years on them since then. And they've really honed their skill. Music is in their blood. And if you recall the great step dancing of that tradition, they will certainly be laying down their dance floor and having a great time. One of my favorite events that we've had. And I look forward to bringing the next generation in. Saturday, July 13th, we have 10,000 Maniacs. And in the brochure, this will be different than what you've seen in the brochure. Lee Nash was touring with them through 2023, but she's decided that she's going back to her solo work. So Mary Ramsey will be the lead singer for 10,000 Maniacs. And Mary took over when Natalie Merchant left and has been with them for probably about 20 years now. So she certainly is the lead singer that many of us are familiar with. Some of the hits of 10,000 Maniacs include These Are the Days, Because the Night. So this band from the 80s, 90s that has become part of the music of that era comes back. They probably were here about 12 years ago, I think. So glad that they are part of the Hoover series this year. That is also the weekend of the Plein Air Festival and Lakeside Wooden Boat Show. So another exciting weekend here in Lakeside. Following that week, another full week again with a silent movie on Monday, a magic show with Bill Blagg on Wednesday, and on Friday, Ernie Haas's signature sound return return with a new show called Decades of Love. They found during COVID that they were doing a lot, kind of spending time with their loved ones. And so they decided to put together a show based on some of the greatest love songs that either they fell in love with or were the songs of their relationships. And so the Decades of Love just looked at takes those great voices, that great harmony, and created a show that'll reflect on these beautiful love songs that you'll recognize well. On Saturday, we have Girl Named Tom, and they have certainly been busy since their last appearance at Lakeside. They released a new single in the fall called What a View. They released a Christmas album and did I think they said a 25 city tour in, maybe less than 5 weeks. So I think it was in a month. They were just all everywhere. Did some work with Pentatonics on stage, which is very exciting. Working on a new album. They're on Republic Records. I don't know that label, but we're hoping to see many great things from them. And I hope for them this is exciting for them as it is for us to watch these young kids from Ohio doing some really amazing things. Leading into the last weekend of July, Anson Williams will be on stage as part of our keynote series. Anson, as you may recognize him from Popsy on Happy Days. And when I talked with him, he said, I'd like to come back, and I have these ideas of how Happy Days impacted our society. Would that be something your audience would be interested in? I said, anything we can hear from behind the scenes and kind of your career. Right now, he's doing a lot of directing. And so he has some insights into the different projects he's been working on. So we'll hear from Anson Williams that Thursday night. On Friday, All for One, Grammy-winning artists from the mid-90s. Their biggest song, just still one of my favorites, is I Swear, or I Can Love You Like That. Great R&B sound, some of the best love songs of the era in R&B, in my estimation. So very exciting to have them. They've been on my list for quite a while to bring in, and it just seemed to align well this year with their schedule and ours. That Saturday kicks off the Lakeside Symphony Orchestra concerts in Hoover. Now, this year's a little different. The date on the screen is correct. We'll actually start Wednesday, July 24th with a small ensemble concert. So this year we have 5 concerts in Hoover and 3 small ensemble concerts. One on the 24th will be in the bandstand. Wednesday night, it'll be a family concert featuring the woodwind instruments. On Monday, the 29th, we'll have a percussion trio, and this will be in South Auditorium. It'll be a fun, interactive kind of jam session where kids can be a part of making the music. And then on Wednesday, August 7th, we'll have a brass quintet back in the bandstand doing a family concert. Daniel Meyer returns as our conductor. When I was putting my notes together for this, I found it hard to believe it's actually Daniel's 6th season. It's just mind-boggling to me. We did the season, I call it the season of auditions in 2018. Daniel was selected and started in 2019. Then into COVID season, where we did 4 very small solo or small ensemble concerts in the bandstand due to COVID. And then we attempted to relaunch in 2021 with a couple strings only concerts. And then we kept that small kind of chamber-sized orchestra on stage. So really, we came back to full symphony in 2022. And I think 2023 was one of the best seasons we've had. Part of that was because it was the 150th and we had some additional funds to bring in Teo String Quartet. They returned to be in residence with us for the 2 weeks of the symphony season. They're based in Pittsburgh, and just this wonderful energy between the musicians. 2 of them are brothers, and the 4 of them have played together for a long time now and are exploring a lot of electronic music, classical and electronic music, creating some neat sounds. So it'll be interesting to see what they're up to. They will play as part of the Candlelight Showcase. They'll play a concert on Sunday, August 4th, and just be out and about in the community. They really want to immerse themselves in the community. Last year was kind of a trial to see how we could fit and work together, and they are enthused to come back and be even more a part through this residency. As always, we have a couple amazing soloists in our concert on the Wednesday, July 31st. Adam Golko will play Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 3. And Adam has been doing amazing things and has been on Daniel's radar for a while. And so they have played together in another venue with another orchestra, and he had that as a high recommendation. On Friday, August 2nd, in addition to a featured piece by Bayo String Quartet, we'll also have Ty Murray on violin doing the Brahms Violin Concerto, another young artist that is just on her way up and playing for more and more symphonies. If you look at this photo, and I hope this doesn't sound wrong, this woman has amazing muscles. She's amazingly fit. And I think, wow, I guess from playing a violin, you get a very good workout. And then on August 6th, Isabel Durenberger, who was here during Daniel's audition season. She played for his night on that season of concerts. She'll do Mozart's Violin Concerto No. 3. Also, as part of the August 6th concert, we're doing the Cezanne Symphony No. 3, and there is an organ soloist. So Jonathan Moyer from Oberlin, who is a professor in organ there, will be the soloist in that piece. So the August 6th concert will have featured 2 soloists. So we've really tried to pack together a tight season featuring soloists on every concert and some amazing, the repertoire that Daniel puts together is great. We close our season again with Ohio Contemporary Ballet. You may recall last year, Maggie talked about Verb Ballet changing their name to Ohio Contemporary Ballet. They still are kind of writing both names so that people understand which company is dancing. They'll dance to Carmen, Suites 1 and 2, and now I've forgotten the next piece, but I'll look that up. The concert's always sponsored by the Iva M. Clark Endowment, and that has been in place long before I came. So I'm going to guess 30 or 40 years. That allows us to have the funds to have a live orchestra and a live dance company performing together, rather than having the dance company played. So those 2 weeks proved to be very exciting, especially for symphony lovers, dance lovers. We hope folks will join us for that. Moving then into August, we typically put a comedian in early August. It helps balance the craziness and intensity of the symphony season. As you might imagine, a comedian needs a microphone and a stool, which is much easier than a lot of the Saturday night concerts that we're loading in. So Tom Papa, he is probably best known for his Netflix specials. He just released his 4th Netflix special. He is also an author. His recent book, We're All in This Together, was on New Yorker's Best Books of 2023. It's a series of short essays. And he said, as he reflects on our country today, we really are all in this together. And people sometimes carry a sense of doom and dread, like, where are we going? But he said, if we again look for common themes, commonality, we really have a lot going on that enriches all of us, and to look for our commonalities rather than trying to look for our opposites. He'll bring an opening act yet to be named with him for that concert. And again, promises to be a family-friendly comedy show. On Saturday, August 10th, we welcome back Peter Noon, probably the greatest showman that I've seen on the Hoover stage. He and John Tesh probably run neck and neck for that record, or that title. I don't think either of them are the best singer in the world, but I love them both for their spirit, their energy, their presence on stage, the way they have self-deprecating humor. Something about them just makes them feel very accessible and fun and friendly. So even if you're not into Herman's Hermits and some of those great hits from the British invasion, it is a show not to be missed. New to us that same day on Saturday, August 10th, is the Corvette show. The Western Ohio Corvette Club asked us if they could put together an event that day. So I'm looking forward to that. And now that I put that there, I realize I may have had to move the Corvette Club. Let me check my notes. The Corvette Club is coming. It does say August 10th. So we're in good shape there. Maybe the 17th. I apologize. I need to go back and check that. Either way, the Corvettes should be cool to look at down on the waterfront, similar to what we do for the collector car show. The following weekend, on Friday, one night in Memphis, is the former cast members of Million Dollar Quartet, which you may have seen on a Broadway tour show through the area, or if you were in New York City. It features a jam session in December of 1956 with Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Johnny Cash. And basically, they're playing music that made them all famous. And Jerry Lee Lewis is very young in his career, and Elvis is just starting his movie career at that time. So it's this really neat moment in history of these four American musical legends coming together with these amazing voices from Broadway artists. So for me, when I saw $1 Million Quartet, I didn't realize they had an offshoot in this show called One Night in Memphis. And when an agent brought it to my attention, I said, well, you know what? That sounds perfect for Lakeside, perfect for an evening in Hoover. On Saturday, August 17th, we have the Peking Acrobats, stars of the Peking Acrobats coming through. They were on the schedule last year, and because of visa challenges, they had to change to another act for that night. They've promised that this year they would not have those challenges. They're working on a different way of putting the tour together. In order for a group like that to come, they have to have so many dates of a certain type of venue, and they just weren't able to pull that together last year. So hoping and praying that all goes well for them to be a part of our stage. If you have not seen them do the stack of 20 chairs down on the floor of Lakeside, of Hoover, right on that front row, it is amazing. And I think that this particular troupe holds the record for the highest or most number of chairs, the highest they went in that particular feat, I guess you would call it. So we're excited to have the Peking Acrobats. You know, it's interesting. We talk about the acts and what they require. And I was reading through the rider, the technical information for this group, and there's a whole page typed about the style and work ethic of this particular troupe and most troupes, that when they come into a theater like ours, we're often offering to help unload the truck or to help them set up gear. But for them, that's an insult. They're being told that they can't do the job that they've been hired to do. And so you have to kind of stand back and let them loose in the venue so that they have the opportunity to put together a show that they're proud of. I thought it was a great way for us to help understand the cultural difference between the way this company works and maybe some others do. But I look forward to having them on our stage. Friday, August 23rd, we have Chris Collins doing the music of John Denver along with the Boulder Canyon Band. For me, this has been one of the most requested acts to come back, a show that features the music of John Denver. There's something about it that I think kind of transcends people's musical interests. And really, it's music with a positive message. He has such a great sound, and one of those artists that was taken from us too early, and we're glad to celebrate his music. Saturday, August 24th, Jefferson Starship comes, the 1970s, 80s classic rock band with a multitude of hits. They went through a couple versions of Jefferson's Airplane, Jefferson Starship, then there were Starship and all. So this is several members of the original Jefferson Starship coming in. Their hits, We Built This City, Miracles, Count on Me, Find Your Way Back. This is like when Lou Gramm was here at Foreigner. They play the whole concert and you keep thinking, oh, I didn't realize they did that hit too. And it's just hit after hit. America was that way, where you didn't quite remember all the wonderful hits they have. So we're excited to have them on our stage. And we're already at Labor Day weekend. And Labor Day weekend kicks off on Friday night with Special Consensus. Special Consensus is a Bluegrass Award winner. And I'm blanking on the name of the performer they come with. I'll think of it before too long. So Special Consensus, based down in the Nashville area, tour the world representing American bluegrass. And so they've been to Lakeside, I think, twice before, but they're the greatest guys, a really humble, grounded presence, and they just want to come and play great music. So I asked them if they would consider playing in the bandstand, because on Friday night of Labor Day, we thought that would be fun. And they said, just tell us where to play, Shirley. We'll go anywhere. We'll do anything you need us to. We just want to play our music. You don't pay us to play. You pay us to get there. And whatever else happens, it's just a lot of fun. Look forward to that outside in the bandstand. And then the Saturday, Sounds of Soul returns. They were a Memorial Day show last year, and probably they were July 4th, over the July 4th weekend last year, and had one of the biggest audience responses. Just people loved their sound, their style, their musical versatility, celebrating all that great Motown music. On Sunday the 1st, we'll have a cookout on the pavilion with an artist playing outside music. Then we'll wander off Actually, the band is called the Clams, doing a wide variety of music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They're out of the Cleveland area, and that's 12 to 2. And then at 2:30, 2:45, we'll wander to the steps of Hoover porch again and see the Heidelberg Marching Band assemble, march down to the bandstand and do their concert. It's just part of our partnership with Heidelberg University. Heidelberg will also be here in July to do their Broadway boot camp again, which was well received by young families, and mainly middle school and high school kids, maybe some young college participating in that. We'll also have Croswell Theater camp here again, thanks to a generous donation from a family who wanted to see Croswell back with us, and they'll do a week-long program for younger kids. We're keeping those connections to our partner organizations like Heidelberg University and Croswell Theater Company up in Michigan. So other than that, just some family shows to highlight. I may have mentioned these as we were going through. Chip Richter will do a concert on July 28th. He's up in the top left, obviously, on his Once Upon a Porch set. Chipper Lowell is in the middle, magic and comedy. He is always on TV on the shows like the Fool the Penn and Teller show and those kinds of magic shows on TV. Great guy, full of energy, from a circus family, and he has just stories. Oh, if we had time just to have him tell the stories, that would be great fun. The three guys with the juggling balls are playing by air here on July 3rd. Robin Eccles Cooper in the top right is a storyteller. She'll be here on Juneteenth, on June 19th this year. In the lower left, the Columbus Zoo brings in an animal show program. That's Trout, my favorite penguin, from a show they did in Hoover. That penguin followed me all over stage. It was great fun. And then the Magic of Bill Blagg in mid-July. He is just an amazing, amazing magician. A few other things happening in Hoover. Our Hoover lobby exhibits. We will do the art show and the photography show again. I would urge you to get your paints out or your camera out and start creating art to be a part of that show. If you have children or grandchildren, we are always looking to expand our feature of the young artists in both of these shows. So this can be a school project that your child or grandchild brings home, put it in a frame, enter it in the art show, or many of the youth with their own iPhones are doing great photography. Enlarge some of those, enter those in the show. So those are the running dates. In the art show, we'll take in all the art. It'll be due a full week before then, that June 20th date, and then the July 25th. And I'm going to check my calendar here. The June 20th, I believe, is the date of the opening of the art show. So that is actually a Thursday. The art intake day is Sunday, June 16th. And then the same with the photography. That Sunday is actually July 21st with the the photography intake that day and it opening on July 25th. This in addition to the maritime art exhibit that I mentioned earlier. We'll fill our lobby with beautiful creativity. And then I did mention, but wanted to highlight the Plein Air Festival will be the weekend of July's weekend fun event. And gosh, it's been, I think, 18, 19 years. I forget which annual year this is. If the brackets are on and they recall that, you can put it in the chat. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. I got a message pop up that says my internet is not stable. Is everyone hearing me okay?
Yes, you sound good, Shirley.
Why, thank you, Phil. Great. Okay, that wraps up the formal part. I don't know if there are any questions that anyone has to ask, or Phil, if you saw any in the chat or online before.
Yes, I'm seeing a lot of "We will miss you."
Oh.
All right, so the number one question that we brought before through the email was, please describe the technical routine once an act arrives at Lakeside. Do most acts use Lakeside speakers, equipment, or do they bring their own?
Well, that is a good question. It does vary from act to act, and I would say almost all the performers use our sound system and our lighting. But the equipment, so the band equipment we refer to as backline, that's what changes as to whether we provide it or the band will provide it. Sometimes they'll bring in a second soundboard so they can mix monitors from stage. So really, it depends on the band. But if you look at a band like Stephenson Starship, more than likely we're providing, and that means our crew would get to the venue around 8 o'clock that morning. We would set up all of the sound system, the monitor rig, have the drum kit out, have the amps in place and all. The band's manager might come in around noon. By 2 or 3, the band is in, except for what I'll call the stars or the singers. And then that happens usually around 3:30. And then by 5 o'clock, they're taking a break and going off to dinner before the show that night. Typically, at least 2 weeks in advance, there'll be a conversation between the Hoover technical director and their production manager to make sure we have everything set in place, what we need. There's always a negotiation, kind of, do you really need this very, very expensive keyboard? Or could you look at this keyboard? Or is there a way we could use our lighting? Because our lighting, you might imagine, is fairly compared to when you go to what I'll say, a rock and roll concert in an arena type venue. And so we kind of have to convince them, here's what we've got, a couple different colors. We'll do a little bit on the moving lights, but it's an intimate hall, and lighting isn't necessarily the star of the show. So those kinds of conversations all happen in advance, in addition to what they need for meals, what they need backstage for hospitality, whether or not they'll do a meet and greet, whether or not they have guests coming. So there's a whole a worksheet that I fill out. I call my advanced sheet to pull all these pieces together, what their lodging looks like. So all that comes together.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
for that question, whoever submitted it.
And the second question was, do you have a favorite Hoover show from all years you've worked there?
When I do a presentation at Kiwanis, do the behind the scenes tours at Hoover, I usually get this question. I have different favorite shows for different reasons. And I remember when I prepared a program for the Women's Club, I gave some of my favorite stories. So as far as moments where something happened on stage that was magical, the two I think of are the first time Sons of Serendip was here. And that at the end of their concert, they came off stage, and I'm like, you've got to do an encore. And they said, we don't have an encore. I'm like, well, you have to figure out an encore right now because the audience very much wants you to come out. So I said, do something like Amazing Grace. And they're like, Amazing Grace. And then they sat there for 20 seconds and figured out what key to do it in. And as they walked on stage and became so emotional, because this was still very early in their career, they couldn't continue singing the song. And so then the audience sang for them. And I'm getting chills just talking about it. It was such a magical moment. Similar to when Peter Yarrow was there. That was a great moment too. So those were good. But I've told the story before of my teenage love, Jimmy Osmond, being on stage and getting taken for an ice cream cone after his concert. Now, it was not a good concert. We both aged since my age of 13, but it was, I think, a bit of nostalgia. Osmond brothers had been, so it's nice to see them. Being serenaded by Bill Medley of the Righteous Brothers was another great moment. I'm not often starstruck, but that one melted me backstage to do a little puddle. So some great memories. Thank you for asking.
And we're getting a couple more questions from the chat, Shirley.
Okay.
Bill Smith, do we have any plans to upgrade lighting in the next few years?
Well, we have a proposal together, Bill. First phase would take in house lights and the stage lights that are in the House of Hoover. The second phase would do the lights on the stage themselves. So now it's just looking for funding for that. But we've spec'd out a pretty detailed plan for that, at least in theory, and then move forward on getting the bids and all of that. So that is my hope. That was one of the projects I'd hoped to have rolling soon. So we'll look at that.
And Dwight King asks, will Mike Albert be back as Elvis?
I'm sorry to say he's not on the schedule this year. I'm either going to be loved or crucified. I hear just as many people who say, please, please don't bring him back, as say, bring him back. And so it did not work date-wise this year. So no, but I promised Mike that I would get a calendar of his dates that he's playing so we could pitch it to our lakeside guests to go and find him.
And it looks like that was the last question, Shirley.
One question folks have been asking me on the street I thought I'd answer is, am I really retiring and what will I do? And I am so honored to have had, this was my 20th season that I've just finished explaining to you. And it has been just a privilege and an honor to be here to do this. I will stay connected to Lakeside because it's in my heart and in my blood. But the full-time gig was just getting to be a little bit much. I turned 60 last summer. I said, you know what? This is time to enjoy the new great nieces and nephews. Yeah, I guess I say our grandnieces and nephews. And just do some travel with Bill. But I have lots of unique ways I think I can contribute. And so to whatever degree we can weave those in, I'll be around. And hope to, I mean, I put a lot of energy into booking the season along with the team. So I'll be here to see some of those shows. But an exciting thing that I wanted to mention, and I believe we have her on, yes, we do. Garrett's Marie Fox was our summer assistant last year. She was hired as an intern. I realized that, Kiris, let's call you the summer assistant, which pleased that she did. Kiris is with us, and I thought I could introduce her. She is our program manager. So this is a position we had before COVID. I'm thrilled that we were able to put it into the budget. So thank you, Charles and Sam, for putting that into the, ensuring that was in the budget this year. So I would love to introduce Kiris Marie Fox and have her just share a little about her career thus far. Phil, if you could unmute her so that Kiris could speak, that would be great.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Shirley. I appreciate it. First of all, I'm so excited to be here and to be working with Lakeside this year. And this was just a fantastic presentation. So Shirley, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. A little background about me. I'm currently a student at Baldwin Wallace University, and I'm majoring in arts management with minors in dance and marketing. And I'm set to graduate in May of this year, which I'm very, very excited about. As Shirley mentioned, last year during the summer of 2023, I served the Lakeside community as the arts management assistant. Absolutely loved this work and enjoyed learning so much about the Lakeside community and getting to know you guys as well. This has been fantastic. And I loved it so much that when the program manager position was posted, I immediately jumped on the opportunity and applied. And I'm so much looking forward to learning more about Lakeside, this incredible, unique community of people, and just to expand my knowledge on nonprofit organizations and the work of presenting in this industry as well. So thank you guys so much. I'm very much looking forward to the season.
Thank you, Kiris. Kiris, I think, is an important bridge from what we did last year to the new director. We're currently wrapping up interviews and hope to have an announcement soon on who the new director of arts and entertainment will be. Had some amazing candidates, so we're very, very excited with the candidate pool. And hopefully I'm making an announcement very soon to that. But I think Kiris will be a bridge and a good reason for me to stick around because I enjoy her company as well as her amazing work ethic. So it'll be an easy reason for me to be around and working on things like maybe I'll come do plein air with Kiris if she'll have me, like that. All right. I think that pretty much wraps things up for today, unless there was an additional question, Phil.
I believe Charles Allen wanted to say one thing, Shirley.
Oh, Charles, we'd love to have you.
I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna admit him now. Can you hear us, Charles?
Yes. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. And hoping to see all of you that are in Florida area at one of the gatherings in Florida next week. Or this week, we'll be coming there. And so hoping to see everyone there. But I just want to say, one, thank you to Shirley for booking our amazing season this year. It is the first season of the next 150 years. And she has definitely put her mark on this season. And if you notice that she may be missing, it's because I have her tied up somewhere to keep her around. Because we're not ready to let her go just yet. But I just want to say to Shirley, who most of you have been, or all of you have been around Lakeside for Shirley's tenure and know so much about her genius and what she does to make the season remarkable. I've only had an opportunity of working with Shirley the last 3 years, but I just want to say that Shirley is one of the most professional and people to work with, one of the most delightful people to work with, and thoughtful. And so we will definitely miss her. We plan on trying to keep her engaged at some level or another. And so even at the cost of bribing her husband to, make sure she gets, left at Lakeside a few days here and there. But this season is going to be remarkable. It is the season that I believe that the Lakeside will begin to thrive like never before. Anytime you and I'm going to talk to those that went to church this morning at some form or another. But anytime you start to see attacks or disruption, it's just a sign that God is going to do something great and magnificent. And I'll just believe that with everything in me, that Lakeside is going to continue to thrive and continue to be there. And we've been talking at each gathering what it means to be a thriving community. And so we look forward to seeing you all at some of the gatherings coming up. But most importantly, I look forward to seeing you this coming season here at Lakeside. It's sort of, when the season ends, it's sort of bittersweet, right? Like everybody starts to go away. The sweetness of it is that, man, maybe, the long hours is not there as much anymore, but you begin to miss all the people. And so right around this time, my wife and I began to get a little excited about seeing everyone return. So we're excited to see you all return this year. But I just want to say, give it up for Shirley for again hitting it out the park of another magnificent season.
Thank you so much, Charles. And we are so blessed by your leadership and your vision and your calm and steady presence with us. So thank you for being here and for all that you do for Lakeside as well.
And Shirley mentioned that we have extended the offer for a replacement for Shirley. I think he's a little nervous by trying to fill her shoes. But we'll let you know as that unfold. The VP of programming, we have some amazing candidates, really strong candidates, and we're hopefully to be making a decision on that here this coming week as well. And so so we'll be having a great time. We'll have some new team members to introduce you to. And then we're going to make sure Shirley stays around to coach us all through the season to help us get through it as she's done every other year. But I want to say thank you guys again and have a blessed day.
Thanks, Charles. And thanks, Phil, for hosting today.
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Shirley. I did want to mention before we wrapped up, this Wednesday, February 21st, is part 2 of our Lenten study with Reverend Dr. Charles Yost. Part 1 you can find on our YouTube, or I believe you can find it on lakesideohio.com/stream. And then furthermore, Lakeside Online, February 29th, we're doing another Behind the Curtain with Daniel Meyer, focusing on our Lakeside Symphony Orchestra. So definitely don't miss those. But have a good Sunday, everybody. Thank you, Shirley.
Bye-bye.